Good morning. Welcome back, everybody. It is February 4th, Friday, 2022, and you are watching today's episode of Created Briefs. My name is Ken Young, and I'm flying solo today. Usually, my colleague Greg is joining me, but unfortunately, he's pulled away due to a prior engagement with Techstars. Wishing him the best and good luck in that accelerator program. But he'll be back next week. We hope. But you know what? We'll carry on. Welcome to Creative Briefs. It's our weekly recap of the top news and analysis from the creator economy. What we have here is every week, usually Greg and I will bring you the roundup of the latest news, analysis, and deep dives on the key topics in the creator economy. We go live on Fridays at 8 a.m. Pacific, and you can find more about the show at created.show. We also stream the show to Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter Live, and Twitter Spaces. So pick your poison. There's plenty of opportunities to catch recaps and catch us live. And if you have any questions during the show, if you're able to, drop us a DM or raise your hand if you're in a Twitter space, and we can bring you on stage and you can ask the question live. We also post longer form content and notes over on our main website, theoretically, at createdeconomy.com. As I mentioned, this is our Friday show, but we do also do two other shows. It starts off on Tuesday with Created Works, which is a look at the future of investment in Web3 for builders and creators alike. On Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Pacific, we have our flagship show, Created Economy, where we interview personalities and key voices in the space. And then obviously Fridays at 8 a.m. Pacific, we have this show, which I noticed that, Greg still has this as 9 a.m. Pacific. So this is actually wrong on the slide here. So oops. You can also find us on social media and everywhere at Created Economy. Follow us on YouTube, follow us on Twitter, Twitch, and
you can edit that deck, right? You don't have to keep blaming me for why it's wrong.
I'm on this cadence, Greg, and all of a sudden you are just pop up. If you missed, since clearly you don't know. I don't get this, Greg.
I got 20 minutes before my next call, so you can either waste it talking about.
I literally in the opening intro, I said,
"What else you were about to go into there?"
I literally had the intro like, "Hey, Greg's off. He won't be joining us. I'm flying solo." And all of a sudden, poof, you show up. I don't get you. Why can't you let me have these things? Anyways, but thank you for joining me. We'll run through this really quickly. Follow us on Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook and YouTube. That's where we have all the news, and you can find more information while you're there. Subscribe and like that and all that fun stuff there. All right. Also, we have our AMA drop, this official token of the show. You can get what is it, two free tokens? Is that correct?
This week it's 2 tokens actually, because I forgot to promote last week's, but I think you have to hold 10 to claim them. So
gotcha. So download them, get access to them at bit.ly/AMA-drop-19. Wow, that's a mouthful of a URL.
Just go check our tweet.
All right. And with that, why don't we just go blaze through the news here? So let's go through some of these quick digests here. Not sure. I guess it's not surprising. There's a creator called Eric. First name is Eric Decker. He actually is a YouTuber, and he announced he raised $3 million in seed funding from Colin and Samir, Casey Neistat, Upfront Ventures, Justin Kahn, and Jack Conte. And it's not going to him personally, so it's not going to be like what Slow Ventures did with Marina Mogilko, who will be on our show on Wednesday. It's actually for his online film school, Creator Now. And so far, Creator Now has apparently done amazing work in terms of helping would-be YouTubers create content. So this is a nice little move for them. Let me see. I have my notes here. I mean, its educational programs so far has helped 300 participants to be creators. Students that want to participate pay $250 to take interactive and collaborative learning courses. So $250 ain't that bad. The funding will be used to help creators, to help broadened their curriculum, new courses around storytelling, brand partnerships, team building, editing, and product development. Not a bad move, and good for somebody who has over 1 million, who had, I guess, is more known for gaining 1 million subscribers in less than a year. That's actually a monumental feat. So I think in the past we've talked about these type of education programs formed by creators. So this is just another development in that space. Greg, any thoughts on that?
Well, I think no, I just think it's good. It's great to see this. I remember seeing his original thing that he was doing beforehand. Look, if people think the people are going to stop trying to be creators, then you probably don't really know where your head is.
Yeah. All right, Koji. So we had Dimitri Shapiro on our show last week. He announced Koji had $20 million in new funding, and part of that new funding would be, hey, they're going to look into some Web3 stuff. And days later, they announced that their Koji wallet, Koji Pay wallet, is now allowing creators to withdraw money in the form of Bitcoin. So basically, creators can get paid in fiat currencies through their Koji Pay wallet. And then if they so choose, the creators can then withdraw that amount in the form of Bitcoin. So this is actually, this is not that process is not actually a new per se, but what is interesting is that it's circumventing, the Apple and the Android and the Google marketplace, and you're being able to do it by itself. So that's a nice move there.
I mean, I think this is going to benefit two types of people. And they, one of the audiences they mentioned is like sort of the international creators, because I think there are often a lot of challenges in getting paid, or like onerous fees associated with it. And so this provides a bit of flexibility. But I also think it probably does work best for the top of the ecosystem, because if you like, I guess this is like your allowance money, like, so if you're like, this is just a little extra money I get, like maybe, or maybe like you have so much money that you don't need like cash or fiat, right? Like, this seems like there's some other kind of self-selection potentially, right, that may fit into that ecosystem as well.
Absolutely. All right, Pixel Vault. So I read this and I actually thought this was more like a graphically for NFT type of play, but it's actually not. It's they're building, what Pixel Vault wants to do is actually build like a Marvel cinematic universe around NFTs. For graphic.
It's the new Disney, right?
Yeah, that's what they're calling. They're considering they want to be a decentralized Disney of sorts, right? In terms of the characters. So Pixel Vault is known for, I think it was the crypto punks or something like that. That NFTs. And so what they're doing is they want to expand that, and so they've raised $100 million. That's actually pretty big, and like I think it's like, okay, if you wanted to raise like $3 million or $10 million for this, okay, great. $100 million for this. This is actually pretty. That's notable. That's a significant amount. I mean, I think it's insane for building out for NFTs around comic books or superheroes. But I don't know. They want to do more like so you're gonna have not only just more CryptoPunks, but other things as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm in one of the groups I'm in with a bunch of other rally and business folks, and it's interesting. There's some of the folks are like very bullish on like Vivi, which is like the Disney backed sort of collectibles. I'm actually in the opposite frame. I think like there's going to be a bunch of new emergent brands that will definitely, I think, compete with Disney. Disney's good at what it does. It's great at what it does, right? But
yeah,
they're not like the forever brand, right? Like, I mean, like there's so much room left, and there's a big difference in being a collector and an owner, right? And I think like what Pixel Vault offers, and I think this is the part that, this word ownership gets tossed around a lot, and I think it's used pretty stupidly to some degree, right? But this is a good use case of it, right? Like where it's like, I could go buy Disney stuff, or I could buy more of the stuff that I'm actually like a shareholder in or had input into, and to me, the upstart version of like all of this stuff is so much more interesting and compelling than like just feeding the previous, winners over and over again.
Yeah. No, and you're right. I think on one hand, I don't think Disney would ever, well, I wouldn't say ever, at this point will not get into NFTs, right? They may be
Well,
dabbling.
they are. I mean, Disney has NFTs on Vivi technically,
Oh, okay.
right? They're collectibles. They are ostensibly minted on a blockchain, but they're custodial to the app. So you can't like just take that NFT and sell it, right?
Right, but not to the extent of like maybe doing like an Avengers type of NFT, like a cult
Right.
series. I don't
You
think.
can buy like these 3D avatars on Vivi, and
Yeah,
they exist in the real world. And
yeah.
yeah, look, will Disney have NFTs? They actually have job openings right now for people to come work on Web3 things at Disney. So I think it'll happen. Rights is still a touchy area in a lot of these areas, right? Like inherently we don't have rights. Usually not baked into the smart contracts themselves. There's all this questionability about who owns the art versus owning the token. But don't sleep on it. Yeah, look, I think you're right. Like Disney will have NFTs. Would be my guess, right? Now, but they have them now technically, right? They did them in the way that you would expect Disney would do it, right? Like it's like inside of a proprietary app. That's the only way to sort of buy and sell and trade them. But they are worth a lot of money. They have rarity and they have all the similar aspects, but not quite the
I
same
think,
as the
yeah.
NFTs we know of.
I think both are coming at it from different angles in terms of storytelling. Like obviously, Marvel has this whole like from comic books and like print comic books, and then you have the movies. You don't necessarily have that type of folklore, so to speak, as it relates to like
Sure.
CryptoPunks. So it's like, oh, it's an interesting way
Not
to.
yet, right? I mean, Disney's how old? What, from the 50s, right? So
Oh
Disney's like
yeah,
what, 70 years old or something, right?
yeah.
Um, or maybe they're older, right? Like so, but sure, like but in it, I posed this question right away, like in the group. I was like, how many young kids, like Gen Zers, are like all about Disney, right? Like I don't know, like I think it's entirely possible that they just have no loyalty to the
Like,
brand.
they have
Right?
loyalty to the movie, to the like
Maybe the movie, yeah, but they
yeah,
don't give a shit
they're
about Disney.
more,
Like,
yeah, yeah, like, in terms of, like, which has more staying power, like, does like, I mean, Mickey Mouse is a recognized brand is recognized character, but, like, if you think, like, oh, versus, like, a CryptoPunk versus Mickey Mouse, I think they would probably take more Mickey Mouse type of thing. Okay, so let's talk about NFT staying with the NFT side. Coachella, so this is when I saw this, I actually thought, like, "Hey, this is actually a pretty good implementation of NFTs, like that most people can probably understand the applicability of it, minus are NFTs or Web3 safe? Are they scams or whatever? But what Coachella, so this is a annual music festival in California, Coachella, says that they're going to sell lifetime festival passes as NFTs. So, but there's this not everyone can take advantage of it. Um, the organizers actually, as of I think today, are auctioning off a group of 10 NFTs that the owners that will give holders the lifetime tickets to the festival, as well as quote access to Coachella produced virtual events forever. It also, but there's also in-person perks when you go to the festival, such as front row access and a celebrity chef dinner. If you can't get those, get one of those 10. There are 1,000 other NFTs that they're pricing at that you can buy at $180, which gives you a physical photo, a physical festival photo album. 10,000 other NFTs for $60 each will provide quote fan favorite festival photos and never before heard soundscapes. So there's obviously the digital to the virtual, digital to physical type of tie-in with NFT. So this is a pretty interesting move. Um, this is not based on Ethereum. These tokens are minted on Solana,
Mhm.
and portion of the sales will be given to three charities: Give Directly, Lideris Campesinas, and Find Food Bank. So, Greg, would you go? I mean, I think we're not. It's not surprising to see musicians or the music industry take advantage of NFTs. We've seen this for
Yeah.
like digital art sales and everything like that. Um, but I mean, this is actually pretty impressive use case for NFTs. Maybe I'm just very more of a pragmatist as opposed to
I think the more utility we find in NFTs, the better, because I think it takes so much of the hate that exists around NFTs out of the balloon, right? Um, like this is a prime example of like what an NFT could be good for,
Yeah.
right? Like, I think this is also presents like some of the challenges. There's only 10 of them, right?
Yeah.
So
And
I
of the
think,
lifetime passes. Yeah.
yeah, I think they're going to sell for a crap ton,
Yeah.
right? But I think this does pose some of the interesting challenges, like how do you do forever things, or how do you do lifetime things, right? Like, how do you work out the costs and build in the value for that over time, right? It's kind of the thing we're working through on the creative work show on Tuesdays. Um, but yeah, this is a prime example of what you should be using an NFT for, right? Like you can have it, it's permanent, you can never lose it technically. And it is a great way to stand up or provide ongoing value.
Cool. Speaking of NFTs, Cameo. So Cameo, if you know, it's a nice little messaging service that you, or you can, uh, uh, where you can pay a celebrity to record a video, a personalized message for you that you can give to yourself or to your friend or a loved one or to your enemy if you really hate them. So they're launching a Ethereum NFT pass that gives you specific. It's basically a membership program. Um, so here's what I've discerned from this article. So it's launching on February 17th. It's called the Cameo Pass. It can be purchased for zero point 0.2 ETH. And token holders get access to exclusive live and online events, along with merchandise and access to what they're calling a Cameo location that's built in the metaverse. And then all the proceeds from the NFT sales obviously will be reinvested into other Cameo Web3 efforts. Um, I guess that's cool. I mean, it's not surprising. I mean, it's probably to keep people more engaged with it with Cameo because like, how many times are you going to go buy a personalized message from like Gilbert Godfrey, Brett Favre, or
Yeah, but how much time is that person actually going to show up? Right.
that's true.
Um, right. I guess is what it really is. And so actually connected to the earlier point, right? About sort of the forever passes or these things that sort of have like unbuckled or like open-ended sort of value. It's like you're buying it, but like, is there a commitment, from that celebrity to be there like an hour a week, or they're like, oh, I'm going to pop in, but you'll never catch them kind of thing,
Yeah.
yeah, so this is what I mean, because like if the influencer here, the celebrity is going to get paid once, then they already got all the value, right? Like doesn't matter if you sell the pass after the fact that they already got paid.
It almost seems like this pack that you're like exclusive events, benefits, and merch to NFT holders. It almost seems like it's a pseudo Shopify type of play, but specifically for the Shopify aspect for the celebrities to sling their merch. Right? Could you imagine like a whether it's a Penn and Teller or a Brett Favre type of like, hey, we're selling this merchandise for whatever. Like you could, but it's specifically to those that may want to hear more from that celebrity. I don't know. I'm very interested to hear more, like to see how that merchandise aspect progresses down the road. What was that from Victor? Okay. So Victor says this NFT lifetime pass is very generous. It could have been a lifetime access to going to the virtual Coachella event.
Yeah, but I think it's an auction. So the reality is that
For the Coachella one, yeah, the first
and it's
10.
only 10 of them, right? Like, yeah, I think if it was like thousands of them, I think it probably would have been the virtual thing. My guess is, I don't know what a Coachella pass costs. I think it's a lot, right?
Yeah, I think it like I don't think it's like tens of $1,000. It might be like
Like
$1,000.
a thousand,
Yeah.
thousand at least, right?
But
Maybe,
then
right?
yeah, but it's divided into 2 weekends, so you have to
Yeah.
I think you might have to buy 2 for 2 passes or maybe 1 pass and go to one.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
Something like
my guess is that those suckers are going to sell for like 10, 20 grand, probably. Like we'll report back on that
yeah.
next week.
Yep.
I got to run in 1 minute.
Okay. Well, okay.
Yeah. So just to your point, you thought the Pixel Vault was a lot. This one is even more.
Yeah, so Bored Ape Yacht Club, the creators behind the Bored Ape Yacht Club NFT collection, they're in talks to raise from Andreessen Horowitz and a bunch of others at a $5 billion valuation. Holy crap, $5 billion. But I mean, out of all the NFT collections that have been talked about or that you've seen headlines for, this one is probably the one that's kind of been the most prominent, right? I mean, it's like it's 100,000, no, 10,000 of these images of these NFTs on the Ethereum blockchain. Everyone basically has, well, anyone, all the celebrities have them. Paris Hilton, Steph Curry, Eminem have one, and they're just going, the value is skyrocketing again, going gangbusters. So, I mean, multi-million dollar fundraising round. That's what's being reported by Financial Times. Uh, this is this is bonkers. I mean,
Yeah. Well, again, it's like don't sleep on how big a brand could be just because it started now and it exists in this realm. Right?
yeah. OpenSea, it and revealed some numbers, even though they've had some pretty crappy 2022 so far to a certain degree. They announced that they've seen $5 billion in monthly sales. That's a new record compared to August, I think was 2021, where that was actually just maybe like $1 billion lower. So $1 billion, go figure, right? $1 billion difference. But I think as more services come on board in terms of being an NFT marketplace, who knows what'll happen. I think that will be interesting to see how that $5 billion.
This will definitely change. I mean, there's some degree the pie is going to get bigger, but I think it's also a lot of this money is going to get redistributed.
But it's funny. The fun thing about OpenSea, well, not funny, but the interesting about OpenSea, what they revealed, I think, was last week, is that 80% of NFTs, the free NFTs that are sold on this marketplace, were fraud or spam. Like, and they still made $5 billion. They did $5 billion in trade.
Well, the money is still trading, regardless of whether or not it's for a good reason.
Yeah.
All right, I got to run, unfortunately, but have a good weekend, everyone. I'll see y'all soon.
All right, man. I'll see you in a bit. Okay. All right. Now that he's gone. Oh, hi. Ignore that ad. So as we were talking about earlier, this came out actually at the end of January. This article in Vice, it says more than 80% of NFTs created for free on OpenSea are fraud or spam. So, all right. So this week has been a earnings report has been earnings season. So what we saw is Google, Meta / formerly known as Facebook, Snap, and a bunch of other Amazon and a bunch of other companies announce their quarterly earnings. And we won't go into what revenue was here and there. That's not the point. The point is that when Meta announced their earnings, they came in under expectations. Their stock is obviously taking a hit. Snapchat announced their earnings. They did pretty well. But there was also some revelations in terms of how these two companies are seeing competition from TikTok, right? And I don't think there's any surprise that everyone's trying to compete with TikTok. Everyone's copying TikTok, very similar to basically how Facebook is copying Snapchat. But what you have here is more of definitive proof that Snap and Facebook are saying, "Hey, let's stop dicking around and let's focus on short form video, because TikTok is clearly killing it. We see them as a threat, and let's move forward." And that word threat has been bandied about in according from Mark Zuckerberg and Snap. So they're taking it pretty serious in terms of the viability of TikTok. So I mean, this is not surprising. And clearly TikTok is living rent free in these US tech companies. So here's some interesting notes. So Evan Spiegel, Snap's CEO, and basically has said that more users are watching videos on Snapchat's Spotlight, which is the TikTok competitive feature, as well as its Discover section. However, less time is being spent watching Snapchat stories that are shared by a user's friends. So they're kind of more discovery type of stuff. Similarly, Mark Zuckerberg has described TikTok as a threat, and even according to reports, he told the company in an internal meeting that that Facebook or Meta should focus on its own short video product. So the 2020 is going to be a very interesting year as it relates to the battle for short in terms of short video. And we'll see. Well, I'm sure we'll see more innovations in that space to come. But I think one thing that TikTok that can aid Snap and Facebook in this regards is the U.S. government. That's right. So the U.S. government, specifically the Commerce Department, the Commerce Department of the U.S. government, is reportedly weighing new rules that could limit TikTok as well as foreign apps from operating in the country. This is raises specters of past actions by the Commerce Department as it relates to curtailing TikTok's access. You might remember that under President Trump, I think it was during in the past 4 years, there was this whole hullabaloo about how TikTok and other Chinese apps were of national security concerns, and there was an attempt to have TikTok or TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, divest itself from TikTok's U.S. operations. At one point, Microsoft was reportedly interested in being a part in that, being an owner for TikTok. That didn't happen, and TikTok's apparently was going to get sold to Oracle and Walmart. But then after the 2020 election and President Biden assumed office, his administration put a halt to that, which was a very fascinating exercise. And but the U.S. regulatory body, CFIUS, it's uh, the Committee on Foreign Investment and in the United States, says that it's continuing to conduct a quote ongoing end quote review on TikTok. So right now, it's TikTok's obviously still accessible in the U.S. Um, how that could change in the near future remains to be seen. But basically, according to reports, um, these new rules would create oversight of apps it deems to be could be exploited, quote, by foreign adversaries to steal or otherwise obtain data, end quote. Um, how this weighs on creators obviously is there's nothing that's going to impact them in the short term, but it could uh, pose a hindrance or a obstacle for them in the long term, depending on how the U.S. decides to regulate TikTok as well as other apps. There's no indication on what other apps could be impacted by this, but obviously TikTok is the main one that everyone has a obsession over. So in a matter of, I think, as it relates to overall, like just keeping apprised of what's happening in the industry, this is something that'll continue to be looked at in 2022. Um, I don't think. I mean, it's going to help Snap. It's going to help Facebook, but it's not going to make it easier for them to gain users for like Instagram Reels or Snap Spotlight or you know Facebook Stories or whatever, or Messenger Stories or whatever tickles your fancy as it relates to that, or even YouTube Shorts. All right, I think Google and Alphabet are going to have the same problems as it relates to Facebook and Snap. Although I think YouTube it might have it on a slightly different scale, just because they can pay more to creators with their advertising scale there. So um, that's actually pretty much all that the news that we have right now. Anybody have any thoughts? If you happen to be in the Twitter Spaces or be watching live, if you have any comments, please feel free to share them. Otherwise, I think that pretty much wraps it up here. It's been a pretty short week. I mean, it's like I know last week we kind of ran for an hour because there's a lot more news, and obviously Greg was here, so we debated a little bit more. But this week has kind of been pretty light on the news, although I don't say that's a good thing or a bad thing. But it's been pretty eye opening. So if you have any news that you want to share, feel free to drop us a line. You can find us obviously on social media everywhere at Created Economy. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and also to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, since nice little self-promotional plug here. Since I work at Flipboard, I have a magazine dedicated to everything around the creator economy news. Be sure to follow that on flipboard.com/@createdeconomy. That's where we'll have more information on the latest insights and analysis around the space that we don't necessarily have enough time to talk about on our Friday shows. And with that, appreciate you all joining me and hope you have a great weekend. And we will see you on Tuesday for Created Works and Wednesday for Created Economy. And join us next Friday for another episode of Created Briefs. Thanks very much. Have a great one.